chief guest, Mr. Muire, Houston Tribuna, Daniel Enoshikati, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stefanie Brinkel. I'm the project manager of Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. And it's my pleasure today to summarize the book that we are launching today for you. I would like to give you a short introduction. What is this book about? Why did we publish this book? As you heard before, CAS, together with Forum CC and the East African community, jointly organized a conference. And this conference was titled Climate Change, Renewable Energies and Sustainable Use of Natural Resources in East Africa, the Role of Climate Finance. This conference took place in November last year in Arusha, where the EAC is based. And in this conference, 21 participants from governmental bodies, but also from non-governmental organizations took part, and they came from all five East African member states, so Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi. As basis for our conference proceedings, but also for the book, we characterized the term climate finance, and it was characterized as something that refers to local, national, and transnational financing, which then may be drawn from public, private, and alternative sources of financing. For us, it was important to characterize this term up front because that was basically the main topic of our conference. And we all agreed for the conference, and then also in the book, that climate finance is something very fundamental to address climate change and the consequences of climate change, and is vital for a broad implementation of mitigation as well as adaptation projects. So projects that reduce greenhouse gas emissions or projects that help to adapt to the consequences of climate change. So that is the background of the book. What was the aim of the conference and what would you find in the book then? Our aim was to conduct a joint analysis and an evaluation of the current climate finance architecture. So which mechanisms of climate finance are in place, and then what opportunities do they give to the member states in East Africa or the East African community. Then with regard to sustainable development in the region, we decided to have a special focus on the question, how can then climate finance mechanisms boost the sustainable use of natural resources and renewable energies in the region. So when you would go through the book, that is basically the question that is guiding all the findings in the book. The conference then contained 4 sessions and 1 concluding discussion. And these sessions were, at first, natural resources, renewable energy and climate change in the East African community. So we tried to get a status quo, an overview of what is the situation of those resources and what is the situation of climate change in East Africa. And that is what you then find as part 1 in the book. Then we draw our attention to the climate finance architecture to get an overview on the mechanisms. And then we had invited the participants from the member states to give us an overview of their national perspectives, covering the question, which climate finance mechanisms do you use in your country, and then do you actually use them already to support the renewable energies and the sustainable use of natural resources in your country. And then finally, as we think that climate finance is not only a top-down approach, but respective project implementation relies also on a bottom-up initiative, we also look then at the role of East African civil society and the private sector. So those are the main topics you will find in the book. At the the end of the book, you will find the conclusions which have been drawn from these discussions.